Thank you for taking this moment to breathe and to listen to what can change your life forever. My name is Ragnar Zinikas, and I'm the founder of Starpreneurs TV, How to Dominate the Decade talk show, World Women Conference in the Words, and the creator of Coral Desk. My mission is to empower through education. And thank you for taking this time today, because by doing so and showing up, you are investing in your personal growth. So thank you for doing that. And today I have the honor to talk with Meejie Chaparro Traverso. So she's a speaker, trainer, coach, consultant, and founder of Meejie LLC. So without any further ado, Meejie, who are you, and tell us why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, thank you very much, Ragnar Zinikas. You are extraordinary. I love what you're doing. I love your energy, and I love the idea of empowering through education. So thank you for your work. It is a true inspiration and an honor to be here with you today. So thank you. Thank you. So you're asking me a question. It's who is Meejie? And that was completely something that took me a very long time to figure out. It took me, I would say, till the second half of my life to figure out who I really was, only to find out that who I thought I was as a child is exactly who I am now. So somehow, the disconnect in between growing up and from childhood and going into adulthood, I lost myself in the idea of trying to be what others thought I should be, or what society imposed on the expectations, on perceptions, to realize that I was feeling worse and worse about myself and my life, because I was not recognizing that who I am is who I thought I was as a child. And so the journey of adulthood, getting married, having children, transitioning as a military spouse from place to place, and just trying to figure out a way to express myself and have a career that identified with my personal talents and skills, was really lost in the shuffle. And before you knew it, I ended up with massive depressive episodes, refused to get help, it was almost isolation, self-coping, so many things that I did. I would just, never anything detrimental to, I would say, to hardly anybody other than my kids that would see, really, which matters the most. But you know, you overspend, or you isolate, or you watch TV, or you overeat. And those are just little things that tell you, if you are looking for other things outside of yourself to try and soothe and find out comfort, then you're lost. And I was lost for a very, very long time. So it took my children and for me to realize that the model that I was for them, even though they're great and they don't see it that way, the model that I was for them, it was not enough. So after having had my career on hold for so long, I wanted to give back to a community of women. It's my passion to be able to offer opportunities, share voices, offer strategies, skills, techniques that embrace their own individuality, so that they can say, hey, I'm me and I'm great. I was born great and I want to do this, and go ahead and do it. So through my own journey, I realized that it is important that we share our voices and that we preserve the integrity of our identities. And that's why I do what I do.
Beautiful. I think that by doing so, you have also discovered the true passion, which is now authentic passion, not the passion which and you described it perfectly. There's also the values, the everything which is socially put on us, and we follow that for so many years, and then when we are in the situation when we discover that, oh my God, it's not really like, why have I been doing things or really sharing things which are like not even what I really truly am or really truly want. So what would you say during all this transformation and all this journey, what is your passion and what is the purpose of your life?
That's a beautiful question. And for me is what I figured out, that my passion is the ability to express myself as a woman, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as a creator, an innovator, whatever it is, through the delight of enjoying my senses. I really am one of these people that move around quite a bit. I really based in the idea of enjoying the stimuli that comes to my senses. And that's when I'm my happiest, when I can just connect with my body, with my mind, feel the emotions and feel the experiences. That's really what I'm passionate about. And that's why I created my MSA program, which is a multi-sensory movement surrender approach to managing stress, anxiety, and just to really easing your physiology and your psychology into a free expressive way so that you can just be yourself.
So I was about to go into it because I was actually, when I was going through your biography, that did got my attention, and I think there's a lot of people that today, under all those circumstances, have to really realize that managing stress and anxiety in so many cases is something that we haven't been experiencing before. We don't have really the resources maybe available, and more than maybe managing our own anxiety and stress is to manage it in our children, because everything has changed for them as well. So what would you say, like who do you really serve, and what type of help do they really get when they use your system? Or I didn't pay attention now how
Sure.
to call it.
No. Yeah, great question, and thank you for asking that. I am really passionate about women, especially women who are seeking another chance at life. Women who could be mothers that gave up a career to support their spouses so they could have a career, or women who gave up their career so that they can raise their children, or they were caring for someone, or just didn't believe, they felt oppressed and they didn't believe that they were already born in greatness and with greatness and for greatness. It took me a long time to realize that, but I believe that we're all born in greatness, with greatness, and for greatness. And that if we do everything we do and love with love and for love, as corny as that may sound, I really think that we are able to preserve the integrity of who we are, because going back to your question about passion, that's where we are our best, when we're passionate about feeling and enjoying life. It's just like being on a roller coaster, right? You enjoy the ride. So you create it. And so I like to work with women. I don't tell you that I don't work with other clients, because I do, but I like to work with women, with organizations supporting them. Usually it's, I work more with organizations than individual women, but I still do work with women. But those people or those organizations who really want to breach the gap between equity and equality and cultural differences, or anything that is perceptibly different, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, we're all in this together for the same exact reason, and the segregation only exists in our perceptions, in our interpretations, in our mind, in our choices. There is no segregation when it comes to humanity. We're all the same. And we come into this world to express ourselves and live ourselves, commune and be of service. So where you do it and how you do it, that's where the gift lies, right? That's where, because that's what 7.5 billion people in the world. We're all having different cultures, different DNAs, different passions, different beliefs, different skills, talents, intellect, capability. So how can we possibly state that there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different ways in which to achieve success in the world? There isn't. What there is the potential and the capability in science now, as you know, neuroscience, bioenergetics, and I mean, all these fields studying the brain, the body, the mind, behavior, now have ample data supporting the fact that we are able to really optimize our potential, that the relationship between our thoughts, our bodies, our minds, our, that in ourself, that is really what brings success, which leads me to, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the World Health Organization, the WHO, they've identified in other organizations 10 social determinants of health, right? That they pretty much predict the inability for success, or the type of quality that you'll get due to the inability of access to those resources and that information, or to climb the social ladder. So now, because of everything that we're learning about the brain, okay, yes, it's not to say that those social determinants of health are not impactful and cannot become obstacles, but I see that there's a way to mitigate them, and that starts with your self-development, your education, your ability to control your physiology and psychology, your thoughts, your actions. That's the way in which we can succeed, whether it's at home, at work, at play, in the community, in the world. So that is, I light up, I start moving, I go on talking because I love this. So my mission is to be able to share voices, make connections, offer opportunities, and provide a platform for anyone and everyone, especially women, to step on and finally live out their lives and their dreams. And I've created different programs geared towards that. And so that's what I'm doing. And it's solely based because it was very challenging for me to come up to the idea that I was already born perfect with the tools, with the skills, with the passions that I needed to succeed. I always thought I needed to find them outside of myself. And that was not true. And I think that more and more we're accepting the fact that we're as capable as anyone else to be able to step on, whether we're mothers, whether we're professionals, whether we can do that. There's no difference. The difference lies in your in your will, right? Because people can succeed at different levels, and that success looks so different for each and everyone else. Nonetheless, it can be amazing and extraordinary success.
Beautiful. I know that you mentioned that you have a lot of different programs, but just to understand if those programs are sort of the different ways to communicate with different audience, and the message in the end of the day is not the same, but let's say that the message is continuous, or does every program and the platform have their different, let's say, focus on different topics, like the Inspire TV show?
Really great question. Really great question. Yeah, really great question. I actually have based my programs to be able to serve different structures, whether it is economic development, women entrepreneur, businesses, or that's one structure. The next structure would be education and training. The following structure is healthcare or wellness, health and wellness, and then the social and the civic structures. So that's how I break it, because at the end of the day, again, we're all the same. I really holds on to the fact that we're all one species, right? We're human and we have basic needs, just like Abraham Maslow's, you know, the hierarchy of needs or anything like that. But it's just that we have that, those needs that seem to be common, but the need of self-fulfillment, the need of just being able to be able to contribute and feel that self-value, it's really, really a commonality that we have. So what I do is the delivery is a different, maybe the semantics, the language, the stimuli, the sensory stimuli, but the programs and the essence of what the programs offer are the same. And I have the components of education, self-assessment, skills development, coaching, hands-on immersion, it just so many different things that it's able to adapt and be flexible so people can actually customize their own journey. So does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. So it just I was curious because the names are all inspirational and motivational, but I didn't understand whether they are sort of conveying the message throughout different platforms, or are they with a different focus. So yes, it did. But let's talk about our young generation, and you mentioned that you like to work with women. So let's talk about girls and women that you are talking about. What do you see? What are the common challenges that our society, and especially the young generation, is experiencing today? And they come to you with that let's say problem.
Thank you for asking that question. That is really, really important and powerful question that you're asking. That you know, begs some thought. What I find is that the journey of self-discovery, right, is a challenge for everyone, but for the younger generation who are dealing with these transitions, right? The transitions of challenges that we didn't experience at their time, like this COVID-19, or this complete influx of such mass information that comes throughout technology. This fast-paced world in which you want to find a spot to be noticed or be heard or be felt. I think that is a common challenge that younger generations experience. However, I also think that they will be somewhat ahead of where we were at their age, because we didn't have to deal with this great pause in the world. We didn't have to deal with this great world alertness, right? You need to really stop and think about social responsibility, because you can impact the well-being of any person or persons in your circle just by being in a place. That is really, that is a big responsibility for these young children that are used to having freedom. We saw the resistance of the college kids and its resistance of the high school kids and the young adults. We saw that because it was something that was foreign to them. It's not that they were difficult children, it's that they could not conceptualize that, hey, this is real. And the information that was put out there came from every different angle. We didn't know what it was. There were a lot of speculations as far as safety and what to do and whether you could even breathe near somebody else, right? Because we're all learning. So they had to learn almost by default. And a lot of times the mistakes were made because their perception, they were incapable of understanding our fears. And, when you're young, you're fearless, you're carefree. And maybe we could have used more of that, but they could have used some more of this. So it's still a challenge. So what I do see is the need for us to step in and let our youth know that they were already born to succeed. They were already born with that greatness, that those passions, and that their job is to go into introspection, right? And find out what makes their senses come alive, what makes them feel alive, and then try and go ahead and figure a way to express themselves in there, whether it is in socially, professionally, spiritually, whatever matters to them, and make a lifestyle out of that, because they need to look nowhere else but within themselves. And of course, not harm anybody and learn from others, but the idea of really knowing that you're already so incredibly rich and full of greatness is the challenge that I think that that we as a society need to help offset. Kids need to know that they are amazing. They need guidance because they're young, but they're already amazing. And look at technology. Who would think that we would be able to do what we're doing today? Where are you located?
Los Cabos, Mexico.
Yes, right, in Los Cabos. And here I am in Jersey, near New York City in the United States, and here we're having this conversation. So we never even thought of that when we were growing up, that would be possible. So the conceptualizing something that doesn't exist needs to allow us to also be open to the idea that something we can't even conceive, it's really possible. And I think that is the turning point for us as a society and for children, that they know that whatever thoughts they have and feelings or whatever, it can be possible. The impossible can be made possible, right?
Beautiful. So what would you say, like, you mentioned that empowerment is very close to your heart, and maybe something that really, really also gives you a lot of fire in a sense of passion, no? But who do you empower and how do you do so?
So, well, I love your questions because they're really direct and to the point. I work with, right now I'm working, obviously I came back from trip to Egypt and, business, came back March, COVID-19 hit and just missed that closing of the border, and came in isolated, and life as I knew it changed. Work as I knew it changed. I was booked until next year, travel and everything, and all of a sudden everything stopped. So I had already begun very slowly to create a platform that was digital and technical in order to be able to reach more audiences. But I hadn't really delved into it. My business model completely changed. The needs of our country and the delivery in which things were to be made also changed. So I needed to sit back and even restructure the technology that I was launching just to make it a little bit more experiential, which has always been what I do, but it was that face-to-face and that interaction. So I work with organizations that are in any of the sectors that we spoke of, economic development, health and wellness, education, training, or civic and social, in order to be able to empower them. What we do is we offer journeys of education, self-reflection, skills development, and then hands-on immersion, coaching, and that developing, like road mapping, charting a map, with actionable goals that are tangible, that have timelines, that are able to allow you to customize your way of learning. Not everybody learns in the same way, right? We all have different ways in which we like to process our information or are capable of doing it, and just chart a path that allows you to wake up every morning and say, oh gosh, I'm up, can't wait for the next day, for this day, for the next week, because you know that you're on a path to just express yourself into the world. I mean, more specifically, I've worked with veterans and veteran women's. I've worked with women organizations. I've worked with the military managers, program managers, with families and spouses that are deployed. I've worked with young girls, but I love working with women. I will work with anyone, but I love working with women because I can relate to their story.
That's beautiful. What do you see? You just mentioned that everything for, let's say, from professional point of view changed for you. You had to take the time to reflect, and you needed to reinvent in that sense, no?
Yes.
So the way that you were doing business was not available anymore. But how do you see the future? What the future will bring you professionally and personally?
So that's another thought-provoking question, and a great question. For me, I am in the process of building opportunities at a global level, just to be able to support women, to share their voices, to make connections, to ignite thought, to support movements, and to be able to just unify people and build communities. So what I see for me is using more of the artificial intelligence into into the programs, using more of the virtual connections into the programs, because we need to adapt to what the needs of our people are, to the limitations of whether you can get on a plane or travel, or we don't know for how long we'll be able to do that or not, but the needs of people and women do not change. So if you don't become creative and look for ways of just connecting and ask for input, ask your audience, the women, what would you like to see? What are you capable of doing? What are your limitations right now because of this COVID? But what are your fears? How can we really hone into what your needs are? And then let's start working backwards, okay? What is the minimum that you can do to get to the next step, right? So that is the same approach that that I've taken with my programs and my technology, because I needed to say, okay, this whole great scape of being in a conference room with 5,000 women, 1,000, well, whomever, okay, it's no longer going to be that way for a while. So I can't look at that. I can't look at that model. I can't look at that vision. So what can I look at? I can look at this and just build that trust, share my thoughts, ask for input, and just be open to this entire new structure that I have built and continue to build, because it's going. Just let it evolve. Without that, it's like you don't need to know the how. What you need to know is the what. The how is going to come, because there's so many amazing people out there that are willing to teach you, to offer information, to learn. There are programs that are paid programs or free programs that I think we've come together. When a natural disaster happens or when something happens, we come together to help and support each other. And again, as women, we have a soft side to us. Men do too, I'm not saying that, but we have a soft side to us. And I think we feel that need to just, sometimes we can be bleeding hearts, and we need to level that sometimes a bit. But we have that, and for me my vision is a vision of evolution and learning. I will be open to learning every single day, and if I don't learn, then I feel like I'm stuck, because I know that until the day I die, I will continue to evolve and learn. And if I think for a second that I am where I want to be, or that I've reached the pinnacle, or I rude awakening, because that's not happening. I know that. So to be open to knowing that you only know what you know, I think that's for me what I see in my future.
Don't we want the same, like the ability that we have to come together when there is situations like this, catastrophes, all of that? Why don't we use the same force to prevent all those things? This is the thought, no? but most probably it's the thing that we always need to, as they say, we start to value the things and people in our life once they are gone. So it's incredibly sad about humans that we take a lot of things for granted, and thank God, yes, there is a lot of teachings now about greatness, about being grateful, and meditation and all of that, which has always existed, but thank God it's starting to be very popular. But it's a thought which I always think, like, it's amazing what we can do when we are all in trouble, and if we would just use even 10% out of that energy to create something to prevent where we would be. But it's most probably just dreaming big now.
No, and you're absolutely right. And I mean, take a look at yourself. Take a look at your breath of fresh air and your accomplishments and the way you're approaching things. I love it. I was looking around. The more I look at what you're doing, the more I'm thinking, she's really thinking. She's looking for ways to connect, but she's also looking for ways to help. And I think that's really amazing. Now, I'd like to ask you, do you think that our youth and our children, our people, are so used to instant gratification that they are not able to pause and say, okay, maybe I just need to breathe and restructure and be open? I mean, what has been your feeling? Because of course, I'm just one person here with one model, but what has been your experience?
To be honest, I see a lot of difference in cultural backgrounds. There are let's say that in Europe, it's more growing and growing, the all awareness about everything that the young generation feels that they can change. So they want to be the agents for change, and they're looking for stepping up, and they're looking for different ways to be creative and not do things just better but different. So I see a lot of movement there, and more than anything else, I think when we see, and especially I'm from Estonia, I see Estonian school system and our neighbor Finland. Lately the approach to also to traditional education, it has a lot to do with it, because it is creating the awareness about yourself and how much you can impact and be the significant part of every or each community. I think this is where it really begins. If every kid really understands that I have and I can change things in my community, where I live, then this is everything where it starts. And I have felt this on my own skin, in a sense that helping the communities, even what we tend to forget as entrepreneurs and business owners, is that you have the power to change, even if it's one life, but you can change that life today by giving the opportunity or giving the access to opportunity to someone who needs it today. Whether it's giving the voice, whether to give the choice. By giving the choice, I mean giving the opportunities or tools to educate yourself in order to get a better job, or in order to get any job. And having someone who really opens up the door for you. Because we all know, and especially for our young generation, how hard it really is to open up the door that you can really get the job if you don't have the recommendation letter, or if you don't study at the school which is Stanford, whatever, no? So it is hard, and it will be more and more harder, because if we don't start to do and be the facilitator, the building the bridges between of that, I think it's going to get harder. But to be honest, there's I see a lot of movement, a lot of, especially proud of, is that a lot of young women are finally understanding that, especially countries like India, where their cultural background and has been so machistic, in a sense that the woman's role has always been traditionally something which now the girls are just totally stepping up and taking their power, and the same goes with Mexico. Mexico is much more advanced in a sense than India, and I see a lot of men supporting it as well. Nevertheless, it's going to take a lot of time.
Yes, that's beautiful, beautiful. And I just think that people like you who have created a platform for people to stand up and be able to just talk about what they're doing, but also connect and make the world aware of the needs that exist. I think it's just amazing, because that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what we need. We need a lot more women like you who step on and say, hey, I'm here to support you. Yes, I have my business, but I'm here just to offer that platform, that stepping stone for you to be able to shine. So thank you for your work. I mean, I think it's great.
Likewise, that's why we are here. So with all those platforms that you are offering as well for women and people that need empowerment. But let's hear also your 3 recommendations how to dominate the decade.
I love that. How to dominate the decade. And I've been wanting to ask you, how did you come up with that?
I think the original was how to dominate the decade under the current circumstances. And then I saw that the answer for it is that number 1, never to be defined by the circumstances. So I didn't like the circumstances. We took the circumstances out because I didn't want people to be relating themselves rather with the circumstances, but rather with dominating the decade and putting them to think what I can do today in order to change my life and help to change someone else's life. And that's how to dominate the decade was born.
I love it. I love it. So thank you. Well, I think my 3 recommendations would be, just to stay with the same theme, really, it's just follow your dreams, right? Like really, really follow your dreams. Take your passions and your skills and then share them with the world. Just find a way to just voice it, share it, integrate and immerse yourself in there. And number 3, monetize it. Simply monetize what you're passionate about, whether it is working in that field for someone, whether it is being an entrepreneur and creating something, just monetize it. There is no sense of going through life if you're not enjoying your everyday, what you're doing. So just that journey of follow your dreams through introspection, number 1. Number 2, share your dreams, right? By utilizing your skills and that greatness from within. And number 3, monetize it. Find a way to just make it a living. So I think that in my humble, opinion would be what I would say.
Beautiful recommendations. You that you're watching, if you have any comments, if you have any questions or recommendations, then you can leave them below this video. Once the video is premiered, we will take care of them. And also, I hope that you did write down those 3 recommendations. Why? I will tell you in a second. If you have watched the show before, you already know the answer, but let's still have the mystery for people that are joining us today for the first time. But if someone wants to contact you, if someone wants to follow you, how can they do so?
Well, I would say just go on Facebook or LinkedIn. They seem to be the outlets that I use mostly. A lot of women seem to be on Facebook and in LinkedIn. A lot of corporations and agencies that support women and equality are there. So, and then obviously my name, you'll find me under my name. It's Meejie, Meejie, Chaparro, Traverso. And
Beautiful. The only thing is that your name to memorize and write down. So I would recommend you to repeat it one more time because it's not easy to catch with the first time.
Okay, so it's Meejie, Meejie, Chaparro, CHA, P as in Peter, ARRO, hyphen, T as in Thomas, R as in Robert, A, V as in Victor, E, R as in Robert, S as in Sam, O. Meejie, Chaparro, Traverso, and at your service. Thank you so much.
Beautiful. What would be the last message that you want whoever is watching us to remember from this interview?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
What would you like to leave as a last message to everybody that watched the interview? What would you like them to remember out of this interview?
I would really like them to remember that they were born in greatness, with greatness, and for greatness. And that if they choose to do everything they do in love, with love, and for love, they will succeed. I have a concept of this idea, this concept that I use that is mine personal, of entrepreneuring your soul. If you believe you can entrepreneur your soul, that means create, innovate, monetize, and just lead with what lies within your soul. There's no way that you won't succeed, right? You can overcome anything because drive, passion, determination, will, love, that is a driver for you to just get up and search, find, learn, make something out of something. Just be yourself and be okay with it.
Beautiful. So I want to thank you, Meejie, for coming and talking in front of our audience today. Thank you for adding value. And I want to thank you who showed up, hopefully took those notes, which I was talking about. And why did you needed to take the notes? Because when we do make the notes, then we are also, the next step is to take action on them. If you don't write them down, then we all know that we are so addicted to distractions, and tomorrow this is not even in our mind anymore. So become the hero of your own life by taking action on those notes, and you can become the hero in someone else's life. How? By sharing this video, because I'm pretty sure that there are people that need to hear about this interview, need to maybe be reminded of their greatness. Maybe they need to be reminded that love is actually the magic power that does open up every single door. We sometimes need to remind ourselves the power of love. And I will see you in our next episode. Thank you for joining us today.